Hey everybody, I'm back. And for supper tonight, I am going to make my crock pot pork chops. This is my own recipe. So what I done was I just took some onion. I used my little slicer thing and slice them into rings. And I put some seasoned salt and some garlic powder in the bottom of the crock pot. So I'm going to get my other two onions cut and I'll be right back. So my onions are sliced. This slicer slices really thin, which is okay. I mean, heck, it's a $5 slicer from Wally World. And that's just my trash bucket. So I got my onions. Now I'm going to take and get my pork chops. They're already thawed out and everything. And the trick is, if you don't want your meat sticking together, take and put them in, I think wax paper or parchment paper. I think parchment paper. And they don't stick together. I mean, I use it for my meat. And these two packs can be complete. There's two pork chops in this bag. They can be completely frozen, but they will not stick together. So I'm going to get these washed and everything, and I'll be right back. Okay, so all my meat's washed. Let me get this out of there. That's just what the fat and stuff that's come off, that fell off of it. Anyway, I got my pork chops washed and cleaned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my seasoned salt and I'm going to season both sides of it. Both sides. And my garlic powder, I'm going to do both sides. So I'm just going to flip it over on top of that one. I'm going to take and do this side. And my sink is clean. And I'm going to put some garlic powder on it. And I'm going to do all of them this way. And I'm going to put them in the crock pot. So I'll be back when I go to put them in the crock pot. Okay, so now since we got the meat seasoned on both sides, and I put some onions in the bottom. This is just going to be the bottom layer of onions. It's about two onions sliced thinly. So I'm just going to take and put my meat in. I'm just going to kind of lay it around and make sure that, try and get it as much on the onion. And see, I didn't have to season it too much because I have seasoning in here. And plus, I'm going to be putting some more seasoning in here. So I'm going to get the rest of the meat put in here and be right back. Okay, so one of the things I forgot to do is the bell pepper. Now, it calls for 2 green bell peppers, small, and they're chopped. But these are just cut into little slices. And I forgot to put some on the underneath the meat where the onions are, but that's okay, because when you go to cook it, it's still going to get the flavor around. So let me get the bell pepper into the crock pot. Okay, so I got the bell peppers in, and I went ahead and put in the other part of my onion. And oh man, it smells good. So what I want to do now is I'm going to take and sprinkle some more seasoned salt on top, just enough to give it a little bit of color. And my garlic powder, and since I don't have a clove of garlic, I just put in just a little bit of extra garlic powder. So now, that looks so good. Now, my recipe calls for paprika and the onion soup mix. There's my paprika. And you can use whatever brand of cream of chicken condensed soup. So, what I want to do, let me pop the top on the paprika, is I'm just going to just sprinkle just a little bit, not like that. Actually, that would probably be good. I mean, it's going to give a little bit of spice. And then what you do now is just take and place the onion soup mix and the cream of chicken, and I'm going to get about probably a cup of water, probably not even a cup, just enough to get on the bottom, just everything started, because it's going to produce its own juice. So I'm going to get everything else put in here, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, this is what it looks like with the cream of chicken and the onion soup mix. I did put a half a cup of water, and that's just to get down at the bottom so my onions down there don't burn. And what I'm going to do, since I got my crock pot, I'm going to put it on low for, let's see, for 4.5 hours. So that's going to start cooking, and it'll 4.5 hours. Everything will cook down, and there'll be a lot of juice and stuff in here. What I usually do is when it gets after the 4.5 hours are up, if my pork chops aren't not falling apart, but almost falling apart, I mean, you can just take a fork and it'll break off. The meat will just break off. If that doesn't happen after 4.5 hours, then I'll cut it up to high for about 30 minutes to an hour. But I'm going to take and put my lid on and let this cook. I have other things to do outside of the house, so it's one of those set it and forget it meals. But you can you can have rice with it. We're going to have potato salad and green beans. But you can have rice, or you can have, sometimes we just have this. But you should try it. It's good. This is just something I come up with just experimenting. And everybody loves it. So if you like the video, like, subscribe, and everything. And I may post another one of these videos. I don't know. So I may put the recipe in the description. I may. I just have a habit of wording things so I can understand it. But I try to do it where everybody can understand. But I hope you liked the video. See you in the next one. Bye. Okay. So I done went to town and everything. And this is after 4.5 hours cooking. So, oh yeah. And it is done. That's the way I want it to do. I want it so I can stick a fork in and turn it and it falls apart. Looks good. But see how much juice is being produced? And just stir it around if you want to. But it's ready. But when you stick your fork in the meat, it should just come right off. The meat should just peel apart. But that's it. It's finished and it's ready to go. Now you just have to fix your side dishes. Bye.